Can a homemade Peltier cooler actually work as a real air conditioning? Today we're going to find out because I'm finally installing this DIY AC unit in my room to see the real temperature results. But before we jump into testing, here is how the video is structured so you know exactly what's coming. First, I'll show you all the upgrades I made of camera since part 1. Then we'll do a couple of tweaks together on video to finish the unit properly. And after that we'll set it up so it's blowing cold air straight into my window. And finally, the big moment, we'll check the actual temperature drop and measure the power consumption to see if it's even practical. All the timestamps are in the description, so you can jump to any section you want. Let's get started! Before we had this turbofan pushing the air inside the tunnel, and now we are using this more powerful fan with some speed control. Another update I did before this video is that I added 2 more Peltier coolers, and now in total we have 4 in the bottom and 4 in the top. And also 4 of them will go to one power supply and other 4 of them will go to another power supply. And I think this one cools down the water a bit faster. So these were all the upgrades of camera, and this is what we have to do now. A small problem is that moisture will condense on the heatsink. I was experimenting with this duct to remove the moisture, but the best thing will be if we lift this unit a bit up and then place this 3D printed tray in the bottom. This mesh should help guide the water down, but anyways, this tray is super big, so all the water should go on it. We would have to manage the cables differently and also use these square profiles instead of these ones. Let's first lift up the unit and put the tray in the bottom. Also, we need to install more of these units here so that we don't have to cover that part with tape. And to install them we need to remove this duct first. Great, and now it's finally holding strong and we can install 2 more brackets. Now this is pretty elevated. It will be a bit lower because these rods will enter the wood. And now we can install the tray and fix it well. Now all these connections are sealed with the same glue I use always. And then all the cables are managed like that. Not very beautiful, but I guess it should work. And then we will be using this inside the room to control the speed of this fan. Now let's use these caps to close the pipes, so no water will escape the whole unit. So now we can take out this water bottle, and the next step will be to install this mesh to the side of the cold heatsink. We will simply put a few drops of the glue, and then we can stick it well. And then we repeat the same process on the other side. Hopefully the water will not drop on the wires, because otherwise it can follow the path and go to the wood again. As you can see, the tray is a bit bigger than the heatsink, so in theory all the water will be dropping to this tray. Now we need to stick this to the bottom of the tray, so we can connect the tube to this hole, and the water can go to the water bottle. And now we wait till that glue will dry up, and the next step will be to install these power supplies to the bottom of this unit. Before I touch any legs, let's go and see where this unit will go. And the unit goes right here. This will be the platform for the water bottle, and then we'll have to cut some legs which will go here and other ones will go to that roof. Yes, I'm lucky to have a roof next to the window, but I could have used the terrace we have there, and I didn't because I wanted to install it in my room. In the front we will install the legs like that. Great, and with this the front legs are installed, and now we need to install the back legs. Let's go to the roof and measure them there. We have the legs, and now it's time to attach them to the unit. Well, and this is how the unit looks with legs installed. Now let's install the power supplies. Turns out I can put the unit like that for now. And meanwhile we can install the power supply like that. This is how we install the power supplies, and now let's connect these cables and manage them well. In the end I put the power supplies like that because we need some space for the cables, and that's how this unit looks, and now we can go and install it on that window. Looks pretty weird, as if somebody attached a table to the window, but it works. So basically all the hot stuff is outside and only cold air is blowing inside. Now let's connect it and test it finally. We don't forget to install the pipe that will guide the water from this hole to the main water bottle. And that will be the last step outside. I also painted the cardboard in white so it looks more integrated. And that's how it looks from the inside. The whole unit is outside, as I said before, and then we have this hole which will blow a cold air inside the room. Then here we're measuring the temperature, and here we will time how much time passed since we turned the contraption on. And that will be the control of speed of the fan. As you can see, the holes are kinda sealed, so the idea is that cold air will enter the room and the hot air will escape from all the small holes which are left here. We will also measure the power consumption. Damn, 470 watts. And like this we get a cold, fresh air from the outside. And we can see how much the temperature will drop while I'm not here. Just checking the temperature, and inside the tunnel looks like we get like 17 degrees. So the air which is blowing from this hole is pretty chilling. And the consumption is around 480 watts. Looks like the tray works as well. Some water starts dropping there. Some time passed and we get some more water on the tray. And we can see that the unit is inclinated slightly. That is why it stays like that. Finally we can check the temperature in this room. 1 hour and a half passed and we get 26.7 degrees. That means that the room is 2 degrees down. I would say that's pretty good for this tiny hole. Maybe if it runs for the whole day, maybe it will be colder. Also, I'm thinking, what if it sucks the air from another hole here, then the air gets cooled down and then it blasts the cold air back to the room. Like that we will not get fresh air as we get now, but maybe it will be more efficient. A very good thing is that we didn't get any moisture inside. It will just go down to that hole. So I would say that it's a good solution maybe for a tent. When you're camping, you connect this to the solar panel and then to your tent, and like that you can get a colder tent. I also like that the fresh air enters your room, and like that you don't need to ventilate. Well, now we know that you can decrease the room temperature by 2 degrees with this contraption, and of course if you want better results you just take your remote and do this.